The Volkswagen Polo is a staple of the hatchback market, one of the best-selling cars in its class and really provides a great package for the money. I've owned this car for almost 4 years and it was my very first car. Since I have had the car for a while, I thought I would be in a good position to give some comments on what it has been like to drive and own for the past while. I own the Bluemotion Polo, which basically means it has a 1 litre 3-cylinder engine that's good for about 60 horsepower. That means while it's not fast, it has very good fuel economy for a petrol car even when you drive it quickly, and I regularly return 50 to 60 miles per gallon depending on how aggressively I'm driving. I have the 5-door variant that makes it a little bit more practical than the 3-door, and sadly I don't have a set of alloys, but this car is cheap and cheerful. So that's enough talking and looking at the car. Why don't we get out on the road and talk about, is this car a good first car, and I'll hit on some points that I like about this car and some points that I don't like. So now that we're actually out on the road in the car, I can tell you a few things that I like about this car. So first thing it has to be said that I really like about this car is the fuel economy. For a petrol car, it's really good. If I'm not driving hard or not driving fast, I'll usually average somewhere about 58, 59, 60 miles a gallon. But then if I am driving a bit harder, it will usually come out on the lower end of 50. So it is very economical and it's great for a first timer like myself because I don't have a lot of money because I'm just kind of starting out in life. So it does really tick the boxes in that respect. So another thing I really like about this car is the interior. The interior in this car overwhelmingly is great. I really like it because everything you look at and touch and feel is soft. There's not a huge amount of hard plastics, so it doesn't feel like it's really cheap. It feels like everything is where you want it to be and everything is in the right position. So I really like that. Like overall, the interface for the multimedia is great. The touchscreen isn't fantastic, but it's definitely one of the better ones that I've ever seen. So overall, there's a big plus on the interior. Everything is where you'd expect it to be. It doesn't look cheap. It doesn't feel cheap. So that's another big plus. Another massive point with this car is the sound system. The default sound system in it is actually really good because I've been in a lot of my friends' cars and we've obviously been turning up the music. And in this, it just seems to pack a more punch, but also it doesn't distort in the mid-range or high range. So I really, really like that one. It's a great perk to a car, especially a first car, because you're going to have your friends in there a hell of a lot of the time. And it just makes for a great experience, and I'm really surprised at the quality of sound system that they managed to put in this car, especially considering it's not upgraded in any way. So that's a big plus, especially if you're a young guy and you're driving around blaring your tunes all the time. And with the 5-door variant that I have, the car actually is quite practical and I can fit my friends in the back as long as they're not insanely tall. I can get most of my friends in behind me perfectly fine. I am 6'4", so there's not a huge amount of room behind me, but as long as your friends aren't giants, you should be okay. So it makes for a really practical car, which I'm really enjoying and I have enjoyed for the last 4 years. Now on to a few more things that I don't like so much about the car. The biggest thing probably is the fact that this car is a Bluemotion variant. It has quite low horsepower, so I'm looking at 60 horsepower, so it's looking on the lower end of like any car that you can buy nowadays. I don't know many other cars that you can buy nowadays that have less horsepower than this, but if you buy this model, you're probably not looking for a lot of speed or acceleration, so it'll probably suit your needs perfectly. But personally, I wish it just had a bit more because it just really doesn't feel like it can keep up, and overtaking seems like it's a bit of a struggle, like it's a bit of an ordeal. You really need to be sure that this is the time you can go and you have plenty of room, whereas if you get in pretty much any other car, even the diesel variants of this, it has a bit more pick up and go and you can be a bit more confident about your overtakes, which is a big thing I think if you're driving. Like you want that confidence that you can overtake and it will be okay, you know what I mean? So it does fall short in that respect. The only other thing I really don't like about this car is, maybe it's because I'm tall, but when I'm sitting in the seats for a long period of time, say on drives that are 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, I can find that my back kind of hurts and my bum kind of hurts as well. So it kind of like, it hurts the back of your legs. Maybe it's because it's kind of confined and it's a small car, and again, I just might not be fitting in it too well. But yeah, I found the seats that can be kind of a little bit uncomfortable, especially on longer journeys. So that is something I'd be wary of, but there's not a huge amount they can do about that. I don't think any other car in its class is going to offer much better seats, but that is one thing that I've noticed personally. But otherwise, I find the car to be a great package. Like, you get a lot for your money. You get a car that's reliable, small. The looks I wasn't gone on at the start, but as time has gone on, I've really started to enjoy the car and like the way it looks from different angles. I just wish I had upgraded lights in it, maybe in a set of alloys, but you can't ask for everything. And overall, this car is cheap and cheerful. There's a lot going on, and it just feels like it ticks all the boxes very, very well, and I'm very impressed by it, to be honest. It's been a good car, it's been a very good car to me, and it's been very reliable. I've only had a few niggling issues that haven't been too crazy either, and they've been cheap enough to repair. So overall, this car is a great little purchase. I've really enjoyed owning it, and I don't think I could recommend a better first car. Even though it's underpowered, it kind of teaches you the basics of driving, which is probably what the person buying this is looking for, or else maybe it's someone that's just looking for something that's just very economical. Overall, it's a great experience. I've really enjoyed driving this car. It's just a lovely car to drive, and it's always been there when I needed it. So they're all the bases that you need to cover, especially with the first car. So the acceleration isn't mad. That's foot flat to the floor in second gear. It does pick up enough, like it is definitely enough for the roads, but it just doesn't inspire you too much confidence, like I said earlier with overtaking. The driving position is quite high, but I am very tall though, so there's not much you can do. I'm pushed down as low as I can possibly go. But overall, as a package for a first car maybe, or a car that just wants a cheap car that will be reliable, I think it's a great car, and I don't think you could really go wrong. Volkswagen have really hit the nail on the head here, and I'm very impressed. You can't go wrong most of the time with a Volkswagen product, and they've really proved that again in this 2014 variant. So